What's up, Transformers fans? Mondo here, the Dad Bottomus Prime himself, and welcome to another Moonbase 84 transmission. And today I'm reviewing the Studio Series 86 movie, Leader Class Megatron. But quickly before I do that, if you could hit that like button, subscribe, and all that jazz, I'd really appreciate it. And also a big shout out to everybody who has already subbed to the channel. We are now at 300 subs, and I really appreciate it, and we thank you for it. And of course, here we have 86 Megs in his robot mode. And first impressions out of the package is I really like this Megatron. I think they did a really good job with him. And it's also going to be kind of hard for me to go over the details and things in a way. I mean, to spruce it up, I guess, because we all know this design. It's tried and true. All I can say is that he looks the part of being Megatron from the 86 movie / the G1 cartoon, but we will take a closer look. And there we go, starting off with his head sculpt. And again, there it is, the G1 Megatron we've all come to know and love. Again, it's just hard because, you know, it is a great figure, but there's not much more I can say. We've seen this so many times, but they did a fantastic job with this Studio Series version, I will say. We get the nice crisp Decepticon symbol, some paint on the abs, blues, yellows, and reds. Again, some nice sculpt work going down to the hips. Got some nice sculpt work on the arms. We do get some flashes of red in there, and you know, we get the grays and blacks. I will say on the legs, we all saw the promotional images lock in there, and they look very blue, and they kind of look blue on my camera, but they are gray, which is great. I'm sure they'll still find a way to get him out in a darker gray or maybe a black. Time will tell, but there is some really nice detail in there. You can see just in there. Really nice sculpt work throughout him. Nice clean back. Just a really good job. Of course, you have his fusion cannon, which is removable. A really nice Megs. I think they did a great job with him. Besides the fusion cannon, you do get some accessories. You get his sword he ripped open Poor Prime with, done in a nice sparkly purple paint, and then a different shade of purple here, and then a gray handle. Really cool. You get this little barrel piece, which of course will plug onto the back. And like I said, the connection points for these ports in the back are really nice and tight, so they're not going to fall off or anything. And you get little Megs as a gun, some grays, some gunmetal gray or black. Oops, get it in camera. It's tiny. And you get a little Decepticon symbol. And I'm getting into very nitpicky territory here, but I've seen this done much better. But for what it is, it's pretty cool. I have a reissue Starscream that has a little Megatron gun, and it came out a lot nicer than that. For this, you can store it on his back as well. You got a little peg there, and a little slot right there. And if my fat fingers can do it, we will port it right in, like so. Again, very secure. And the sword can go into that port right there with this peg. So that is pretty cool weapon storage in robot mode. It is funny, he is holding himself. Now, he can hold his weapons, of course. I'm getting ahead of myself, but because his fingers are articulated. This finger here, the index finger, is separate than the rest. And then you can plug them in here. That's one thing about this figure, it makes me nervous. To plug these in, like his sword, it's very tight. And I don't want to actually do it right now. I'm thinking of not even doing it because it's so tight and you have to put so much pressure, on my copy at least, that I worry I'm going to end up cracking his thumb. So that is a shame in a way. Maybe I'll try to go ahead and do it. But yeah, I don't, and to get it out, it's the same. You got to really put a lot of pressure, and you can, I don't know if you can see the thumb flexing. Yeah, so that makes me kind of nervous. Hopefully Other people's copies, it's a little bit easier, and to take it out is the same. I'm either worried about breaking the sword or the finger. Oh, or taking out the hand. That hasn't happened yet. My buddy just got his Megatron, his copy, and he reported that one of his hands come off pretty easily. That's the first time mine has come off. But I'll get that out without wasting your time, and we will be right back. Okay, yeah, so crisis averted. Got his hand back in and everything. And we might as well just do it. Go over articulation. This head, I believe, is on a ball. You can look up a tad bit. Look down a tiny bit, not really. You get some tilt. And of course, swivels. Arm goes all the way up there, all the way to do the T. Swivels. Bicep rotation, a little bit past 90 on the elbow bend, and his wrist does rotate, and I already showed the fingers. He does have a waist. If you pull up this skirt piece on the side, you can do just about a full T. Thigh rotation, kicks up really far, kicks back really far. Got that thigh, and then a knee bend a little past 90, and then you have a foot that can point to the sky almost, not so much back, but you do get some really nice pivot, inward pivot. There are a couple of comparisons I want to do, and the first one is with his future self, Galvatron. This is the Legacy Leader and not the Studio Series. I didn't feel that I needed to go out and get the Studio Series. As you can see, Megatron is just a little bit taller than Galvatron, but pretty close. So that's how he stacks up with his future self. And of course, we want to see how he stacks up next to the Commander Class Studio Series 86 Prime. And I think that's a good scale. Megatron is a little bit taller, which I always envision Megatron being a little bit taller, a little tiny bit more imposing than Prime. And I think they look fantastic together. So yeah, old Buckethead here has a really, really nice robot mode. I think they did a really good job with the robot mode with this guy. So now we're gonna have to transform him up and check out his alt mode. So here's Megatron all transformed up into his alt mode, and I gotta say that the instructions absolutely suck. I know I followed them to a T, and after completion, I got this, which is clearly not a gun. So hang on a minute, I'm gonna go check with Tron and Shockwave and see what I did wrong. Okay, I'm back, and excuse my language because I'm really pissed off right now. I checked with Tron, I checked with Shockwave, I checked other videos on YouTube, and this is correct. He's a tank. He's not a gun. How can he be a Studio Series 86 Megatron when he doesn't have his gun mode? This is Hasbro, you're just a junk company. You've ruined my childhood. I'm just so irate with you. Okay, phew, sorry about that. I had to take a step back, go to the store, get myself a Snickers because I get hungry when the toys aren't made exactly the way I want them to be. But here we are. Here we have Studio Series 86 Megatron in his tank mode. And I think they did a really good job with the tank mode. Of course, he's a gray and other gray and a little bit of black tank. But it's really nice. As you can see, I do like the weapon storage. I mean, the sword looks not strange, but I do like the weapon storage. It's nice. This the Megatron gun mode adds a little bit to the tank. You get the nice, his fusion cannon mixed with the little barrel on his back to make a bigger cannon for his gun. You got the gunmetal gray, regular gray. Again, nice sculpted details. The only thing is, it's a little bit gappy here, but not bad, not a deal breaker, just pointing it out. You got other shades of gray. Basically, his theme song for this figure is Shades of Gray. And there's the back. You do get a little red on that fusion cannon there. Nice Decepticon symbol on the front. Of course, that was his chest. Some treads, they don't roll, actually function or anything. You do get the wheels, some nice treads, and again, nice sculpt work. He does roll fairly decently, and his turret does turn. Does it go all the way around? I didn't check that. Yes, all the way around, confirmed. Some nice, more nice details there. So yeah, really nice tank mode. I really do like this. To finish off the review, I wanted to go back to Megatron's robot mode because, again, it is a beautiful robot mode, and I wanted to point a couple things out that I missed. One is he does, due to transformation, have a little bit of a, now it's wedged in there, a butterfly, just a forward butterfly, so that's pretty cool. And the other thing is, outburst aside, is that they did a tremendous job of hiding his tank mode in this robot mode to make it look as accurate as the movie Megatron / G1 cartoon Megatron as they could. There's not any tank bits hanging off of him, which is fantastic in my opinion. The only thing you really get are these treads on the back of his legs. So to me, that is a fantastic job. And speaking of the outburst, I'm sure most of you know, but you realize that that was a total joke. Sorry, but not sorry, mocking people who are still complaining that he was not to be a gun. We all know it's been beaten to death. Hasbro cannot make him a G1 86 movie gun. Toy laws won't allow it. If you want a gun, it's been beaten to death and said to death, he would be a Nerf gun and you would complain about that. So making him a tank and still calling him Studio Series 86 is the best we can get, and I think they did an amazing job with this figure in achieving that. Like I said, just because of things mentioning, there are no tank bits hanging off him. You get a little bit of treads on the back for the tank mode, and I actually like that. It gives it a little character, and it's pretty cool. And the tank mode is a really nice tank mode for what it is and what it had to be. With that all being said, I really love this 86 Megatron. If you couldn't tell already, really great figure, really nice engineering. Transforming to tank mode, even though I didn't know he was a tank, the instructions, I will say, were a little, unclear, I guess, a little unclear in one aspect, and that was with his arms. Once I figured it out, it was fine. Little finicky transforming him into tank mode, getting some things to line up. That is just a nitpick. That's not a gripe, a complaint, a major complaint. Getting him back to, I thought it was going to be more of a hot mess getting him back to robot mode, and actually going from tank to robot was much easier. Again, the arms, they are kind of a pain in a way to get everything lined up to get them back in his torso. There's several hinges, but totally manageable, and once you get the hang of it, totally fine. With that being said, again, great figure. I really like this Megatron. Comment to let me know what you guys think, and until next time, thanks for docking.